name is Travis. I'm 29 years old. I work in IT and often get assignments out of town to check branch systems. It's not a fun job, but sometimes I enjoy it because I can feel alone. But this trip was different. I arrived in a small town where even Google Maps was a bit crazy in finding the hotel location. The name of the place is Brightmere, a former mining town, which is now quieter than a cemetery. The air here is cold even though it's not winter. People rarely smile. And the buildings look like they're waiting to collapse. The hotel I booked, because it was the only one open that night, was called the Rose Hall Hotel. From the outside, the building was in an old colonial style. The yellow lights were dim. The air felt heavy as soon as I opened the door. It was as if the air inside the hotel hadn't been changed for a long time. At the reception, there was an old woman. White hair in a bun. A thin smile that felt insincere. Name? She said in a hoarse voice. Travis. I booked it online. She checked the guest book, then gave me an old iron key with a wooden hanger that said, Room 313. I was shocked. 313? He was silent. Then he looked down, writing something in the logbook. All rooms are full. Only 313 is available tonight, he said without making eye contact. I wanted to ask why the room sounded odd. But that night I was already tired as hell. Going up to the third floor, through the old wooden stairs that creaked every time I stepped on them. Long hallway, faded red carpet, musty smell. The lights glowed dimly as if they were dying. And room 313 is at the end of the hall. Old wooden door. Paint peeling. But that's not what makes me cringe. When I hold the key and just want to insert it into the hole, the doorknob suddenly shook. Like someone inside the room trying to open it from the inside. I stepped back. Silence. My heart was about to jump out of my chest. But there was no sound. The handle stopped moving. And when I pushed the door gently, the room was empty. The dim lights were on. The bed was neat. But there was one strange thing. The mirror was wrapped in black cloth. Under the mirror, there was a small writing stuck to the wall. Handwritten, crooked, almost torn. Don't wait until the light goes out. I stood in front of the mirror, which was wrapped in black cloth. My hand accidentally touched the cloth, cold. Colder than room temperature. As if there was something behind it that was not just a reflection. But I tried to be logical. Maybe it's just the weird decor, I thought. Old hotel, weird owner, maybe there's a cultural reason. But the sign. Don't wait until the lights go out. I sat on the bed, holding my phone, scrolling through the news so I wouldn't think about weird things. But the signal was almost dead. And the Wi-Fi couldn't connect at all. Strange sounds started to be heard from the hallway. Slow steps, like someone dragging their feet. But it didn't stop. I approached the door, peeking through the small hole. Empty. But as soon as I turned around, the TV in the room turns on by itself. The screen only shows one channel, the CCTV camera from the hotel hallway on the third floor. I can see my own bedroom door from another angle, and the next second, there was a figure of a woman with long hair standing facing my door. Silent, not moving, not breathing. Her face was covered by hair. Her long clothes were torn. The TV started to vibrate, the hissing sound piercing my ears. I immediately turned off the TV. But a moment later, the black cloth covering the mirror came off by itself. I was shocked, stepping back. The mirror in front of me reflected the same room, but the mattress looked like it was broken and bloody. And there was me in the mirror, but the version of me was sitting, staring back at me. She smiled, but her eyes were blank. Black. I threw the towel at the mirror. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Panicking, I opened the door and left the room. Ran for the stairs, but every floor I passed, the hallway was the same. Room 313 at each end of the hall. I'm trapped. On the same floor. In a place. Not a normal hotel. And the voice from the room started calling me in my own voice. Travis. Open the door. You have to come back. You're not done yet. Travis stood outside the room. His breath was ragged, cold sweat dripping from his temples. But strangely enough, the sounds from inside the room had stopped completely. No more TV on. No more creepy calls from himself. The temperature changed drastically, cold like a corpse freezer. All the furniture in the room slowly rotted, as if swallowed by time. The TV in the corner turned on by itself, but it wasn't a broadcast. It was a surveillance camera. The image shows the bed from above. Travis sees himself, standing in the room, but not moving. He glances at the bed. It's empty. But on the TV, he's still there. And on the screen, that version of himself slowly turns to the camera. You're not the first guest. The floor of the room made a cracking sound, like there was a space underneath. Travis pushed aside the carpet and found a wooden floor covering, like a door leading downstairs. Like a hidden room. No choice. He opened it. Steep wooden stairs descend. The smell of wet earth and scrap metal greets us. Travis turns on the flashlight on his phone and goes down. Below room 313, there is a dark room like a secret bunker. The walls are covered in graffiti. He's stuck up there. The one who checked out. Don't look in his eyes. And in the corner of the room is a small, dusty table, covered in VHS tapes and handwritten notes. Travis picks up one of the tapes. The label reads, Trial 42, host unsuccessful. The note next to it reads, Room 313 isn't just a room. It's an entrance and an exit. But only one can leave. And he'll keep trying. Suddenly, his phone went dead. Footsteps were heard upstairs, in the room. But not one person. Many. Then the sound of a wooden chair being dragged. Someone or something sitting on it, directly above Travis. And a deep voice came from the old vent. Now it's your turn. Come down, Travis. Travis looked up at the ceiling. A pair of eyes peered through the vent. Travis, standing still beneath room 313. The light from the overhead vents was off. There was no sound, but the air in the room had changed. It felt waiting. He examined the old shelf on the wall. There were dozens of handwritten notes from different people, rushed, dirty, some smeared with what looked like dried blood. He opened one of the books. I stayed in this room in 1998. I never saw a receptionist. I don't remember booking a room. But I woke up here. And since then, I've seen different versions of myself. Some are aggressive. Some just stare. But they all have one goal: to replace me. The next note was written like a medical report. This chamber performs identity duplication. Weak hosts are deleted. Strong ones become the next guardians. And on the wall, Travis saw a large, faded engraving. Only one may return. He slowly realized every previous guest in room 313 probably never really got out. And the figure he saw on the TV screen earlier, the version of himself, was not a hallucination. It was a kind of clone that was waiting for the original body to give up. The lights below the room suddenly turned on by themselves. The dim yellow light shone on an old iron door that had previously been invisible. Travis approached. On the door was a red stamp, "Holder Room." When he touched the handle, he immediately saw a flashback. Not his own, but someone else's memories. A man tied to a chair. The sound of crying from behind a two-way mirror. An attempt to insert consciousness into another body. And a woman's voice saying, "Host 43 failed. We'll wait for the next guest." The door to the holder room opened by itself, slowly. From inside, a thin mist came out. And a voice, not a scream, but Travis' own voice. "Help me. I'm in here. Don't believe the version above." Two Travises. Two truths. Which one is real? The voice from inside kept calling, in its own voice. "I'm still here. The one upstairs isn't me." He hesitated, but eventually he went in. The room inside was empty. Only a large mirror on the wall and a single chair facing him. Lights flickered, and suddenly in the chair, there was Travis. Bound. Cuts on his face. Gasping for breath. "You have to believe me. I'm the real one." Travis walks into the room and approaches. And the reflection in the mirror doesn't follow his movements. He raises his hand, but the reflection stays still. The mirror isn't a mirror. It's a one-way window. And on the other side, there's a camera watching. Then, someone entered the room. But not a human. A creature about 2 meters tall, with a humanoid body, but its eyes were blank, pure black, its skin pale and almost transparent. It walked over to Travis, who was sitting in a chair. "Let's try again. Identity transfer." He touched Travis' tied head, and Travis' standing body felt the excruciating pain. Travis' head felt like it was exploding from the inside. Strange memories entered his mind. Strange faces. Other rooms. Suffering. Death. Not his memories, but The memories of the previous guests. Travis realizes room 313 is part of an ancient consciousness experiment. The creature is not a ghost, not a human, but an entity that requires a human body to survive. And they repeat this process over and over again until the perfect host is found. Travis bit his tongue, intentionally knocking himself out. His body collapsed. The creature was confused, then approached. Suddenly, from behind the wall, a recorded voice sounded. Host 44 failed. Subject mental overload. Beginning reset. Morning. The hotel clerk stood in front of room 313. He knocked softly, then opened the door. Inside, the room looked neat. Clean. The bed was made, the TV was off, and the window was slightly open. A man sat in a chair, his back to the door. Sir, it's time to check out. The man stood and slowly turned his head. It was Travis. But his face was flat. Blank. His eyes were completely black. I'm ready to go.